Welcome back, everybody. Today I've got a big update for you. Would you like to do coding stuff with LLMs? Have you ever used or heard of Claude? Do you even have any developer experience? Well, if you've got some, it's going to be enhanced 400% by, in fact, 400x by what I'm about to show you today. So often we're doing comfy UI, image, video, audio, all that stuff. But I do a whole bunch of LLM stuff behind the scenes, and I do try to share it with you as much as possible. So a couple of days ago, maybe a week, I don't remember. About last week, there we go. We brought out Shuffle Video Studio. Now, what is it? I'm going to break it down quickly for you because we're not going to waste time. Shuffle Video Studio is a way to give a video and then have Python split it up by seconds. And that's how it worked. And it worked really well. So it would make segmented video, it would then shuffle it by two different patterns, and then join it all back together again. So you could put audio with it. There's videos up on the channel. You can go back and check in the history and see those. But today, what I want to show you is not just what I've done, but how I did it. And it's a big deal because this is a huge upgrade to the Claude LLM. I want to show you exactly how you can use it to make almost anything. And in fact, now this is getting so complicated and it's so easy to use. Let's just get into it, right? So first of all, if we take a look at Claude, right, you'll notice that there's a new button which says use a project. Now, what does that actually mean? Now, if I select here, I can pick my Shuffle Video Studio project, which I'm going to show you how I set it up. First, let's show you how you can actually access it yourself. So if you mouse over on the left, you'll see a new projects section. And then over in the top right, you'll see create project. Now, when that opens up, you can give it a name. So I gave my name Shuffle Video Studio, and then I typed in a bunch of stuff. I'm going to show you what I typed, so this will make sense for you guys. Essentially, you describe what the project is, what you're trying to do, what it's about, exactly as it says here, project goals, subject. Then you create the project. And then on the next page, it'll give you even more stuff, right? And that's what I want to show you today. That is the actual important thing about what we're looking at. When we go into the project, you'll notice that there's something called project knowledge. Now, you might have seen the ability to give a primer prompt, and I've released a lot of primer prompts. I made agents before GPT-4 even came out. And so, I've been quite ahead of the curve on this sort of thing. And a lot of the work I've been doing that you don't see is to do with all this kind of stuff, right? Now, I'm able to release that stuff now because it's kind of like, it's been so long that nobody will mind. But the point is project knowledge, all right? So first of all, I've added a few things. So let me just explain here, right? So you know how I said, when you open it up, so when you open up your project, what I've done when I created it, I put the README, okay? So, it's been updated now, but the README for my GitHub project in full. So everything, system requirements, troubleshooting, performance notes, file structure, how to, not this bit because that's been added today, what the workflow example, all of this sort of stuff, everything that was in the old README went into this section here, okay? Okay, so that's the first point, right? So you'll see just here, look, there it is, okay? So I've added the entire README for my GitHub project into that description. And then on this side, I've written, I am working with .py Python code and .bat Windows batch files in this project. I will always require the full script to be shown in the responses to prevent any copy-paste errors. Because I always look at this from the angle of, what if I didn't know how to code? I want to see how good it is at helping me code when I don't have a brain in my skull or have no experience, no developer knowledge, all right? Because I want to test how good this is from the perspective of a not coding developer, right? So you might have an idea in your head that you want to turn into code, and I don't want you to be afraid of it. So anyway, I will provide all code when requested, because I can, to show the source of the project, but I didn't. I said I will, but then I didn't. I let him hallucinate it because he does such a great job, allowing you to know exactly what is running. Please aid me with improvements and modifications I need to make and add to enhance the features of this AI video editing tool. Because what we've basically built is an automatic AI editor. Okay. Now, yeah, sure, it only has a randomization shuffle features for this implementation, but it wouldn't be a long stretch to add some content aware type code to it in a future update. At the moment, Shuffle Video Studio is designed to shuffle clips, and now we've added in beat detection. That's what we're going to be showing you, the process of how I added that with this new feature. So what did we do after we've set this simple message? This is a very simple message, all right? You can see, I hope you can see that that is pretty much worded how anybody would have worded it. So then what I've done is I've added all of the files from the project. So that means that everything that you clone when you download the file has been added in as well. So we can just drag files in. So here's a file. You can drag it in like that. It's that simple. Okay. You don't have to go crazy with that one. So if I take a look here, this is the history of all of the stuff. And as you can see, 3 hours ago, 2 hours ago, 2 hours ago, 1 hour ago, and so on. And then I started testing. I got to do some QA before I can actually release things. Point is, you set up your own project, you add all of the code that you've already made, and it's aware of every moving part. Okay. Up until now, you'd hit the limit because there's no way that you're going to be able to actually, make one conversation. It's going to get too long. And again, like I said, when this convo got too long, I just started the convo again because I've updated the files with the complete code. All right. Now, if that doesn't make sense to you, maybe this is a bit advanced, but I'm hoping that if you stick with me, it'll make sense. But still, let's dive in. So as I say, I've added in all of the code. So that's literally the README text, the requirements text, the batch files, the Python files, and the install script. Everything's here, all of the things. So the splitter, which splits the videos, and it running on CUDA as well. Then also the shuffler, and then the joiner. Now, they were all in the last video. So you put the video in the folder, and you go split, shuffle, join. But it didn't have audio. We were doing that in post with some editor, okay? With this version, we present the video with the music we want it to be edited to. So then it's going to detect the beats. It's going to allow you to select the bars. All right. How many bars do you want it to cut the segments up in? And then it's going to do the shuffle automatically. So it's going to detect the length of the track that you have and then use my size penalty to make sure that it only picks that percentage. So give you an example. If you have a track which is 2 minutes and 11 seconds and you have 4 minutes and 22 seconds of footage, you can have it split and shuffled and it will automatically pick 50%. So that matches the clip length, the split clips, to the length of the song. And then you can do the shuffle. Like I said, it's already shuffled for you, right? And size penalty prioritizes high file sizes. So each clip, all the clips, I explained this in the last video, all the clips will have be different file sizes due to the compression of MP4. Motion and different color changes will make it higher in file size for that particular clip, even though they're all the same length. And so in that way, it can take the most interesting 50% of the footage and then put that in a randomized order to the beat, which is exactly what I was hoping to do with this eventually. And we've done it now. We couldn't have done it easily with the old technique. So this technique is much, much better. So as I say, I'm going to show you the first prompt I wrote. So here it is. Now, I will quickly preface this with a small thing. If you have, if you've got Microsoft VS Code, what you can do is you can do open and close folder, right? If you open the folder that you're working in, it can sort of see all of the files. God, you have to click on that actually to get it to go away. Cool. So anyway, and you can see here are all my files. So I can just click them. And for example, if it gives me some code, I can copy and then I can select all and paste. And then you can run it. All right. Now, good practice. I talked about this last time. What you'll want to do is instead of just overwriting things blind, when something works or you make progress, you'll want to copy that particular file out to a different folder. So I tend to keep a folder of progress, right? and I'll just literally rename the file. I'll copy the file out that I'm working on before I change it, and I'll rename it with, like, instead of .py, .working1, .working2, that kind of thing. And in fact, I can show you just here. So no, not that one. That's the demo. So source. So as you can see here, I've got a whole bunch. So as I made progress, as you can see the timestamps here, every time I felt that it had made progress, I would, copy the file out, rename the extension. And in that way, if Claude went down a weird path, I could just backtrack with a new conversation. Okay. So it's very easy to backtrack if it goes crazy. You just drop this back in as a Py file and go, no, more like this. This was working. Okay. But actually, that didn't happen. All right. I'm going to be honest with you. It does an outstanding job at this. So let's read out the first prompt. So after having loaded all of my files from the previous repo in, that was the version 1, and then having set my primer and my guidance and all this, I'm in here and I say, today, I need to add beat sync features to Shuffle Video Studio. Here is an example of prototype approach, which might offer the functionality I need to add. I would like to add this feature so that the user can present an MP3 or WAV audio file. That music file will be analyzed for beat detection, beats per minute. Then we can use a new version of Video Splitter CUDA, which used detected BPM to split the video into segments in frames, not seconds, in order that it matched the beat, syncing the video once shuffled. I would name the new script beat splitter CUDA.py. It will not ask the user for a number of seconds, as it should offer options in beats: 1 beat, 2 beat, 3 beat, 4 beat. And this allows the user to configure the pacing of the split clips. All other code should remain the same unless it needs to change to make the beat sync feature work. And off he goes. First thing he did was give me the new script, right? So this would be in full. See, it's got all the imports at the top, brings us down to the bottom, all the way down to the bottom, and we're done. I won't bother slowing and down and everything because this is all deprecated code now. I had to go through a lot to get it to work. But that just means in the purpose of saying, no, that didn't work. Here's the error. Run it again. Oh, no, there was a different error this time. Run it again. Oh, there was a different error this time. Run it again. And then it works. Okay. You just got to go through that process. And like I said, every time it works, I would save it to this file here, right? So let's go back into here. This is the main area. And as you can see from the timestamps, I cloned the repo at 12:30 my time, and I was finished by 4:30. And then when we get to the README, that's, I tested it, and then I had him hallucinate my new README. Just like I told you last time, you don't have to write your own documentation. It does a great job because it's aware and tracks everything that you're doing. It's honestly, this probably would have taken me a week to do it manually. I knew what to do and I know how to code, but it would have taken me about a week. Maybe somebody who's a better developer than me could have done this in a day, but there's no way you're doing it in 4 hours. All right. 3 hours in, right? 12:30 to 4:30. Come on. That's just insane for what we've actually done and the amount of code and testing. So let's just continue. So it's given me the code. It's given me the batch file, which is exactly the same as all the other batch files, activates the env and launches the Python, and then updated requirements, because obviously there is two new dependencies, librosa and sound file, so that we can do the beat detection and do some sound file stuff, like including the read the WAV file or the MP3. In fact, I didn't even test it with an MP3. These are the edge cases, which sometimes you can't quite predict. I think it works with MP3, but I was testing it with a WAV file all afternoon. So to be fair, I should have probably tested that, but it's fine. Let's just keep going. So here we have, copy the new script to beat splitter, copy the batch file, run update requirements, and then run beat splitter. And then that's it. You're good. What I did was I cloned a new project entirely so that it wasn't going to get messed around with anything that I may have done locally in the meantime that I couldn't remember, right? So here we have the updated CUDA installation script. It essentially just adds these lines here for the new audio processing dependencies. Not a big deal, but remember, that's the sort of thing that you might have a lapse and go, oh, I don't remember that. I know I added it to my requirements, but I may have forgotten to put it into the install script. There it is. So updated CUDA script, right? So then I say this, look at this. This is it. I copy the entire output. All right. So we're working with a folder, a video called Rotary, which is something I filmed last night. And then we're working with a song called Lost, which is on my radio station. So select beats per segment. So I select beats. I select 2 beats. It starts processing the video, Rotary, audio, Lost. And then it says beats per segment 2, input video. It's telling me everything that it's doing, right? And essentially what I'm going to do is it's going to, yeah, that's right. It gives a numpy error, all right? So then he goes, okay, I've fixed the numpy error. And then I get a different error. Let's see, what's the next error? For the next one, there it is. There's a deprecation warning. So I'm like, what did I say? I said, this worked. However, there was a deprecation warning and it hangs at 99% completion. Now, it's funny about this 99% completion thing. In the end, I did a workaround where I was like, well, it's working, but it doesn't want to do the final clip. So what I did was I said, don't bother doing the final clip, just duplicate it. And that's essentially where this thread ends, all right? So we'll get through this quickly. We've obviously done a whole bunch of stuff like expandable segments with CUDA. I would have had to spend hours looking that up because I've never even looked at expandable segments. And it turns out it doesn't even run on Windows anyway. So it would have been a complete waste of time. And this is the sort of thing which I'm talking about, you know, it's all well and good when you have an idea, but you can be dissuaded by the effort and the sort of extra research you've got to put into all the minutiae, and it does it all for you. So when I said, please output the full code. So here we go. While this is working, it just hangs at 99%, and it caused a memory loop that froze the computer and used all my VRAM up with a 4090. That's kind of embarrassing for something so simple as this. So again, it's optimized it. We've run it again. So I said I was forced to keyboard interrupt. Essentially here, I'm still getting annoyed with the whole, it's not working because blah, blah, right? It's not working. So in the end, what I did was here, I said, because we're unable to complete the final segment, as in I checked the outputs and the videos were all being segmented, we were getting 166 out of 167. And the last one just would not finish. So I said, how about we cheat and end the splitting process at the second to last segment and duplicate the penultimate split clip to retain the correct segment count. And that way you won't lose any sync, because obviously we're trying to sync things to audio. You don't want to like -1 and not address that. So that's what I've done. And to be honest, if you're going to be cutting like half a second segments, no one's going to care that the last one is probably going to get dropped by the weight penalty anyway. So it won't matter. And he's like, that's a pragmatic solution. Let's modify the script to handle this by duplicating second to last segment instead of trying to process the problematic final segment. So that's what we did. I then said, output the full script, because when the convo gets quite long, he starts to only give you the piece of code. And at the end of the day, that's not part of my test here. I don't want to be given a slight snippet, because that implies that I am at the level of a developer who would know automatically where to put that snippet. And you can mess up code with a space or an indent that shouldn't be there. Well, not a space, but an indent that shouldn't be there, or by copying code in the wrong place. That'll break the whole thing. So it has to be the full thing every time. Yes, you'll use more tokens, but to be honest, I never hit the limit. Okay. So it seems like, and this is a point actually, at this point, I stop and move on. So, is there a limit on the number of beats a user? Oh, that's also right. So I've come back to the chat. So there's no timestamps, which is a shame. So please output the full script. Howdy do. And he says, I already did. Where is he? This one. So this would be the last script. We actually dumped this one because there were other problems that ended up getting fixed in other chats. But that's my point, right? When we get to the end of this chat, we can just go back. So I can click on Shovel Video Studio, right? And right now I've got the updated repo here. So if I actually wanted to add a new feature, I can start here with a new chat without having to mess around with adding all the files and everything else. I can just immediately start from here, right? And that, to me is kind of amazing because it means that I've got a developer in a box here and he'll write all the code I need conversationally. It's a lot like talking to a real developer online and saying, could you do this? Could you do that? The only difference is he does it right now. Okay. So we're going to go into the next section here, and this would be the shuffle. Now this is going to get much, much quicker now because there's a lot less going on here, right? So we have just completed the newly written beat splitter CUDA.py. So obviously I've tested it. It's working. Now we're going to do the shuffle. I would like to create a new version of Shuffle Splits v2. This should be named beat shuffle auto.py. The main change is that only mode 2, size reward shuffle, is used in this script. Also, the percentage is automatically set by the total length of split clips in selected folder compared to the audio file length that was selected. So we have a song that we want to put to the clips. That has a length. The split clips have a length, right? So what we're going to do is normally we would have had to pick a percentage. That's how the size shuffle worked. We picked a percentage. So if I've got a 20-minute long clip and I've got a 2-minute song, obviously if it's going to do size reward, I'm asking it to work out the proportion percentage and then use that for the reward. So that means it's only going to get the top. So it's 2 minutes and 11 seconds for the song. It's going to take that 20 minutes of split video, organize them by size. All right. Shuffle them by, it's going to take the top, whatever percentage that is. So I think it was about 12% in that case. And then it's going to shuffle them by doing the renaming with the hex, just like before. All right. So blah, blah, blah. As I say, trying to keep you guys up here. So the main change is that only mode 2 size reward shuffle is used. Also, the percentage is automatically set. Yeah, covered that. So the user will be asked to define the audio file name. So you type in the file name. The user will be asked to define the folder name for the split clips. And then the user is asked to name the new folder where the shuffled clips are saved. Length of the audio is compared to the total length of the clips. Right? It's pretty much what I just tried to explain, but like in prompt. For example, if a song is 2 minutes and 11 seconds, the total length of the split clips in the folder is 4 and 22. The size reward percent is 50%. So essentially, I've just painted a nice picture verbally of the concept, and then it goes ahead and just makes it. There it is. And it just worked straight away. I don't think there were any errors. Let's just check. Please create the batch file. And then I've run it. There were no errors. So there was literally nothing more to do here. Okay. It just did exactly what I wanted it to do first time. No problemo. So that means we can move on. So we recently completed beat shuffle auto.py. Now we need to create a new version of shufflejoiner.py, which should be named beat shufflejoiner.py. The main change is that we will now join the shuffled clips and the chosen audio track into the final video. The user will be asked to define the audio file name. The user will be asked to define the folder name for the shuffled clips. If there's any mismatch with final video length and audio length, audio will be cut off. The video will be saved to a folder named beat output. In this way, the final shuffled video is reassembled with the song we have chosen. So, provided that you pick the same track and the same video for the splitting, shuffling, and joining, everything works great. And all you have to do is have the file in the folder. I'm going to take you through it as well. If there's going to be timestamps on the video, you'll be able to skip forward and you'll be able to see exactly what I'm talking about there. It won't even take long because, yeah, it's quite a quick process, actually. So he gives us our beat video joiner right here. And he gives me my batch file, which is the same as all of the other batch files. It's very simple. It activates the env, and then it does the shuffle joining. Probably don't even really need. Do you really even need that? Don't know, but it keeps it clean. So it is. I have adjusted the bat file to match the correct file name. Now, this is something interesting. Every now and then, now this is a really obvious thing for anyone with a bit of coding experience, but if you're a novice or you're starting to learn how to code with AI, this is the sort of thing that people can trip up on. You'll think, well, why doesn't it run? And it doesn't run because there's like a typo. So it's capital B and capital S with no dash. Yeah. But the actual name of the file is the actual name of the file was different. Okay, it was not the same. In fact, if I look here, where are we? Beat joiner, beat shuffle joiner. See, no capital B and dashes. So you've just got to be careful when you're generating code that the references actually are referencing the correct thing. So this is perfect. The only thing is that that's not correct. It needs to match the actual file you're trying to run. Now, this is like sort of week one developer stuff, but it does catch people out because obviously if you download, it says just download this and then download this and just run it, but it doesn't work because it needs to match. Okay. So that's just something you've got to check, right? Every now and then he does make little mistakes like this. And actually it's my fault because I specifically asked for, look, I asked for that. And then when you download the file, it downloads as this. Not this. Where is it? Beat joiner. There. Beat dash shuffle dash joiner. All lowercase, separated by dashes. And it's actually a good coding practice to do it this way. Lowercase with dashes. Just keep it consistent and stick to a convention. So it's my fault for asking him to make it that way because he's actually just done what he was told. And then when he's generated the batch file, he's even made it match. But then when I've downloaded the file itself, it was capital B. Well, it wasn't. It was like this. All right. So that's what I was trying to say. And that applies to all the files that get generated by AI. You just got to make sure that your references are matching and you'll be fine. So I said, I have adjusted the bat file to match the correct file name, case sensitivity, and updated it to the project. The reason I've said that is because because otherwise he'll keep hallucinating the wrong name forever. All right. And that's a good point, actually. At this point, it's worth pointing out. Once you've got files that you're happy with, you can click on the project and you can actually delete the files you've changed because it won't do it by itself. You have to say, I've done a change to beat shuffle joiner. It'll keep the original. So when I'm happy that beat shuffle joiner has actually been fixed, what I can do is I can click the bin button here and then I can drag the new one back in. All right. So that's just something to bear in mind, but it's actually really good to do it like that because it means that you're in control. It's not going crazy and doing loads of stuff on its own. You want to have some control and be able to track what files are actually being used, what's actually there, right? But it does mean then that if I create a new conversation, it's aware of all the updates that we did in this convo and this convo and this convo, even though they were closed down. But in all of the earlier, so all the work I've done it continues to build, right? Okay. So that is pretty much, we've done that one. We've done that one. We've done that one. We've done, let's see, Shovel Video Studio. So this, I've showed you, this is how you can start a new. So I could be like, oh, I want to add some other feature to it today. And then we could start a new conversation, start working on files when they've been changed. They would obviously be, the details would be copied into the file. So I could like open up Shuffle Joiner Pi. I could make changes to the code. And then when it's saved, I could drag that back into the project knowledge and we're up to date. And it's giving me good advice. And like I said, there's probably about 20 files here. Previously, this wasn't really possible because, well, not through a web interface like this with Claude, because you wouldn't have been able to put all these files into a conversation. It would have been too many files, too long code. It would have been a nightmare, but this makes it easy. So you can literally drop your repo now into Claude as project knowledge and then just start making improvements. You say, hey, Claude, improve my code, and it will start spitting it out. Obviously, you'd want to actually work on one file at a time in each cut, but that's obvious. I think that should be obvious, right? Okay. So then what happens is I'm running it and I'm finding that the clips, even though it's doing everything correctly, the length of the splits was incorrect. So this is where it starts getting hard. I will say you can get to 95% easy. The last 5% will take 10 times the effort. And that's just life. That's just a rule of life. Doesn't really matter. Okay. It's just the way it is. So for this final 5%, this is the bit that took the next 3 hours. We did the first part in an hour. The next part took about 3 hours. And that is because that's just a fact of life, guys. But what I found was it was cheating. So it wasn't actually doing the correct length for the beat. It was getting all of the information right. It was detecting the beat, it was calculating the length, but then it wasn't actually saving the correct amount of frames. And it took a while to figure out why it was doing that. And in the end, it was actually because I had worded something backwards. So when I said, I want you to split the video up and match the beat to this song, it thought that I only wanted to do the length of that song. So I had a 20-minute clip and a 2-minute song. And so it was making me 10 times shorter segments because it thought I was trying to fit them all in. And it's because what I should have said was the length of the song doesn't matter. After we've learned what the BPM pattern is, you don't need to squeeze all of these clips into 2 minutes, right? So it was actually reducing by a factor of 10. See, I understand why it did it now, and it wasn't actually an error. It's because when I explained what we were doing, I did it using language which made sense, but actually was backwards because you can't do that with division. You see what I mean? With multiplication, it doesn't matter which way round it is, but with division, it does matter which way round it is, right? So I was trying to divide a 20-minute song into a 2-minute track. If I'd said the other way round, I would have been dividing a 2-minute track into a 20-minute video, which again would have caused other problems. You see what I'm saying? Anyway, it's a basic math challenge here, okay? Because it faithfully does what it's told, right? Anyway, I'm not going to bore you with this because this took a long time. So we're going to keep going and I can show you essentially what I was doing, right? So it claims the segment is 3.158 seconds. However, the segments are only 12 frames each. According to quick math, 3.158 times 59. So that is the number of seconds that the segments should have been. And then the frame rate of the video, that's 189 frames. So we must correct this. So in the end, what I did was I forced it. And then at the very end was like, oh, because I realized it was only splitting up 2 minutes of video. Hang on a minute, everything's working now and it's only splitting 2 minutes of video. And then I realized the error I had made in asking it for something the wrong way round. But essentially, we fixed that at the end. So if I come down to here, where are we? Out the thing, I had to use keyboard interrupt. Please match the input video settings to be used with the output. And it got its knickers in a twist over over formatting. So if you notice, it's the same problem I had the other day, all of this stuff, it gets its knickers in a twist over codec details, because GOP isn't actually something that's exposed for that particular video I was working with. Anyway, I don't want to, like I said, this is technical stuff that doesn't even matter, right? So each segment is repeating these errors. So then I said fixed right video segment function. Here it is, and so on. Go on to the next chat. So, and then I finally got my README done. Okay. Now, like I said, this would be a very, very long video if I actually went through every single chat in order. But let me see if I can find the codec profile error, because this is actually quite important. So yeah, here we go. Right. The video is now being split and output correctly. However, it seems like we only see 2 minutes and 11 seconds of length. This is the length of the music. We should be using segment split length for the full input video length. So it's almost like there was an artificial cap introduced by me saying it the wrong way around. Okay, I hope I've made that clear. So it's very important on the wording. So you just have to be very sure about how you're asking it to do things, and then you won't run into these problems. So just be careful, don't type fast, consider how you're asking it to work, and then you will get more from it, okay? So, I understand we're currently limiting the video splitting based on the audio length rather than the full video length. Let's modify the code to use the video's duration for segmentation while still maintaining beat-based timing, okay? So that was the thing. See, if I'd told it to do that from the very start, I probably could have saved myself an hour or two, because I was fighting some code which I'd generated based on loose language, okay? So you've got to be very careful. But essentially what it's done is it's changed it, okay? I've then made that change, and then everything works perfectly. Now it's segmenting the entire video, and the other sections, the shuffle and the joining, they work perfectly already. They weren't even a problem. So that ended up with the video or videos, which I will put up as the showcase. They'll be attached in the link description. I tend to keep these videos clean so that it doesn't mess things up. But essentially, what I mean by that is there'll be a separate video on the channel, which is linked in the description of this video. So if you want to see what the output looked like, you'll be able to check that out over there. Now, if you already had Shuffle Video Studio installed, you can just do a Git pull and it will give you all of the new files, update the README. Once you've done that, you're going to have to run the update requirements. So if you run the update requirements after a Git pull, you're good to go. All right. You'll have all the new files and all the new dependencies. You'll be ready to go. Okay. That was what I wanted to show you there. So now we've been through all of this. The last thing, this is so amazing for developers, I've got to say, because I find it tedious to update my documentation with projects sometimes, and this will do it for you. So because of the fact that I've added all of my stuff into here, all I have to do is mark the files which have been added. So I've marked the file names by bullet point. I've added BeatSync features to the repo, and I need to update the readme.md to reflect the updates. Oh man, because sometimes writing in markup can be tedious, man. Anyway, so what I've done is I've told him I've made all these. Please update my README and include instructions for use following the style and cadence of the current document. So it looked at the original README, looked at the new files, and then spat out the update, prereqs, initial setup, tools, splitters. Here we go. That's new, right? I didn't write this. It's all generated, okay? Clip shufflers, beat synchronized shuffler, that's new. Beat synchronized joiner with the features, that's new. Workflow examples, run splitter, run joiner, beat synchronized workflow. Yeah. So it shows you this is how you can do your beat sync. And I'll show you that in a second as well. I'm not just going to end the video without showing you that. Shows you the file structure. So make sure you've got everything in the right place. Performance notes. I mean, I think that the splitting is only using CUDA, to be honest. You don't, and there was in fact, I didn't include a CPU version of the beat syncing Python, but I've got a funny feeling that it doesn't even really use CUDA. I don't know. I just got a funny feeling. The iterations look kind of low, but whatever. So beat synchronization notes. So you have to pick the number of bars you want. So obviously it depends on the type of music, how many bars you want the segment to go for. I think I picked 2 in the test that I was doing the QA on. I haven't tested every single one, I'll be honest with you. All right. Troubleshooting, here's your virtual environment troubleshooting, system requirements, and then the open source license. It's all under Apache 2.0. Feel free to modify and distribute it. It's fine. I give this stuff away because it took me 3 hours to make it. Come on. We generated it all, okay? Soon, you'll be able to generate a project like this in record time, and it gets faster and it gets more intelligent every couple of weeks. It seems like there's a new update and it can do more. Like I said, this is kind of crazy. This setup is just kind of crazy because, look, I'm working with 10% of the capacity here. We've got 20 different Python files, batch scripts, and so I just wanted to introduce you guys to this setup. I think it's amazing. I think it's going to, like I said, 400x your productivity. It's insane. Like I said, this could have taken me, because the thing is, it's all very well and good saying, oh, it only would have taken you 20 hours. Yeah, but had you have 20 hours to sit there all day? Most people don't. Most people only have 2 or 3 hours a day. Okay. And so with that, this could actually be something that anyone could have a go at. And if you have coding experience, it's just going to make you even faster, okay? Because you're going to ask questions in ways which will interface directly with how it wants to give the answers. And that's enough of me talking about it. I think I've overviewed the doing of the what I did, how it works, how you could use it. I hope I've explained that. Do ask questions in the comments. And obviously come over onto the Discord if you want to get some more information because I'm happy to share all of the discoveries and knowledge that we've sort of accumulated as a community on this. And yeah, it works great. So now let's get on to the actual demo. Okay, so here I am at the Shuffle Video Studio Git. So I'm going to copy this. All right, we're just going to copy the URL, which obviously you can do from there. You can copy it. And then I'm going to either right-click Terminal, or if you don't have Terminal, we're in a new folder, SVS Demo 2. All right, and I'm going to type CMD, enter. It's going to give me a terminal or not. For some reason, it's not going to give me a terminal. That's okay. I'll open PowerShell. So what we're going to do is we're going to click Git clone and then right-click, and it will copy in the URL. Okay, there it is. I'm now going to move my song and video into that folder so that we've got something to work with, right? And essentially, we're going to have to install it. So let's just run the installation. It's going to create us a virtual environment, and then it's probably going to download Torch from my cache because I've already done this a bunch of times on this machine. The first time that you install any sort of Torch, it's going to be a couple of gigabytes down, but it won't take long. We'll give it a couple of minutes just to install those dependencies here. As you can see, downloading these dependencies comes with a whole bunch of other stuff, but it's nearly done. And I think we're nearly done, so any second now. There it is. So as you can see, it says available scripts, run splitter CUDA, beat splitter CUDA, shuffle bat, joiner bat. Good stuff. Let's go. So now we're inside our folder. We've got Shuffle Video Studio. We're ready to run. So we've done the installation. Everything should now be good to go. I've got my audio file, which is echoes.wav. Let's give that one a quick listen. And then we're going to use our golden sun, which is my golden surfboard guy, surfing around on the surface of the sun and whatnot. So this is what we're going to use to demo. So I'm going to use, obviously, first, we're going to have to use the beat shuffle. Where is it? Okay, so now we've got everything installed. What we need to do is we need to run splitter CUDA v2, because the beat splitter is actually the v2 version, which I had to fix a bunch of times. So there it is. All right. Should be noted in the documentation, I would hope. So enter the video name. So the video name is golden-sun.py. Right? No. MP4. Force of habit, guys. And then the audio is echoes.wav in this case. Yeah, wav. All right. So for this one, I'm going to pick a single bar. So I'm just going to say 1, and enter. Okay. And then it's going to go ahead. And as you can see here, it's saying this is the width and height of the video. That's the frame rate. That's the duration. And then it's going to detect the, where is it? It's going to detect the audio and do the beat and bar detection so it can carry on. All right, there it is. So hopefully it won't go down. I'm going to scroll up a bit so I can read this out. But as you can see, okay, so let's just read that out. So once it's loaded up the audio file, it's got a detected tempo of 99.4 beats per minute. Time signature is 4/4. So we're going to do 199 beats, 49 complete bars. The video duration is 143.3 seconds, and so on and so on. So that means 2.415 seconds per bar, 0.6 per beat. All right, it's going to do all this automatically for you. And then it's going to split into 60 segments. So as you can see here, it's giving you the feedback. So each segment is 60 frames, and off it goes. So it's going to continue cooking the video until it gets to the end. And then once it's done, what we're going to do is we're going to run the beat shuffle auto bat, and then finally the beat joiner. Okay. Okay, there it is, having finished. So it took about 2 minutes to process. We can now press enter and any other key. And then what we're going to do is just take a quick review. So what's it actually just done? It's created a folder, which is the same name as the movie. So whatever the file name was, it's going to create a folder. And inside there, we've got all of our clips. So it's split my video up into segments that match the beat of the song which we gave to the AI to have a look at. So now what we're going to do, well, Python, really. We used AI to write it, but it's all in Python. So then what we're going to do is we're going to run the beat shuffle auto. And what that's going to do is ask me for the audio path. So again, I'm going to say capital E echoes.wav, which is the audio file. And then it's going to ask me for the input folder, which is going to be golden dash sun, like that. And then it's going to ask me for an output. So I'm just going to say gold shuffle. Now what it's going to do is a size reward. So let's just read what it actually did. Because the length of the video is only a little bit longer than the audio, it's ended up using 91% of the clips. And that will match the audio duration of 131 seconds. So obviously, if you have a longer tune, the tune's going to get cut off. If you have a longer video, it's going to use a higher penalty. So if you had like 10 minutes, it might only use 10% or something. So there it is. It's done it all. It's going to analyze an order by file size. It's going to process them by size order. And then it's going to apply final names to the reward clips in a new folder. So if I just refresh, you can see gold shuffle, right? Close this now. Okay, and if I go into gold shuffle, you can see that it's been renamed and randomized. Okay, all with hex, so it shouldn't overwrite each other and all that business. So then all that's left is to do the joiner. So let's do the joiner. So first, it's going to ask me again to do the track, which is echoes.wav. And then it's going to ask for the folder path, which is going to be gold shuffle, gold SH, as I say just now. And there we go. It's going to join the files into the final video. And then this is good to go. There it is. So audio is longer than video by ever so slightly. So it cuts the audio to match. Then it's going to write the final video. And that final video is going to go into beat output. All right, and it's still writing the video, so just be patient while it cooks the frames to your audio. And then pretty much we're done. And there it is. It's all done in 73 seconds. That's it. So essentially, we've added a new feature to the studio, and we did it all with Claude, with the new project file, the new project files feature. And we've added a really cool feature to this suite of tools here. And like I said, you can go ahead and use those and have a load of fun. I'm going to add a link to this as well, showing the a demo output. So there'll be another AI Gen video output. So this is one of them. There'll be another one. There it is, guys. Another update, another way to use Claude, another way to make cool software. Just need to get on the whole project train here. So this is, like I said, we're going to be using this for other things. I just wanted to show you a practical use of it before we start using it for more sort of crazy stuff. There it is. If you want to download it, it's up on my GitHub. And do check the links in the description if you want to learn more. Come over onto our Discord. And that's pretty much everything I've got to tell you. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.